are we cooking today? Or better yet, what's for lunch? For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Nadia Becker, and this is Nadia Cooks.
We're going to talk to Brook and Sydney, the Sibrian sisters from Sibrian Farms. It is a pleasure to talk to somebody who can tell us a lot more about from farm to table, everything that I have been always defending, that we should plant our own as much as we can and live off land as much as we can. Just because, think about it, well, you can tell us more than I can tell the world. But if you grow locally and you have something in your backyard, it's not only better for your health, right? You know what you're eating. It's something that's for real. It's not a product. It is an ingredient. But also you're helping the world become more sustainable in the fact that we're not increasing the carbon footprint. We're not moving trucks from California like now. Look, it's amazing that you guys in California have all this beautiful produce that you can share with the country. But if you think about the amount that, a fruit travels from California to New York, it's insane. But ladies, welcome to the show. Tell us more. So I found Brooke is my amazing coworker at the Journal. So we talk every so often because she's in Pacific time and I'm in Eastern time. But she lived in New York for a little while and then she decided to move back home. And our colleagues at the Journal were very smart and saying, please don't go home, keep on working with us. And then they kept her. And I was very happy to see it on Instagram that farm business took off and she's helping with her sister develop it. So ladies, tell us more about the farm and how it all came to life.
First, I just want to thank you as well for inviting us and setting this up. We were just kind of like, whoa, this is exciting. We just started and it's really fun. So thank you for that. But to your question, so it's been the farm itself, it's been over 7 years now that it's been developing, growing, a lot of learnings for sure. We can get 7 varieties of pomegranates, maybe only 2 of them stick, or the harvest, we may have a harsher winter. And, so it's a lot that we've learned. And it's really been spearheaded by our father, who this has been his passion and growing. And we have other projects coming soon as well. As far as the business itself, it just became something that we decided overnight after we just realized we have so much that we just can't consume ourselves. We can't cook fast enough. And there's only 4 of us here. And so I think we just used social media. I reposted it and it took off. And we have 2 sales today and we're going to drop them off. And so we're really excited to see it evolve. We just started ordering some packaging. And so we'll see. We're going to have fun with it. But as far as the farm to table, I think we've always prioritized eating well and ultimately just being self-sufficient for ourselves. And I think it was a really great opportunity to see that and how important it was with quarantine. Once quarantine hit in the first months, once, COVID, the panic about being able to get food and everything, I kind of just hit home that we have so much here and we can continue doing that. So, we've been contemplating getting a goat or a cow or something. We're just like, hey, you never know. So it's definitely a baby and gonna see it kind of come into fruition, but it's a long way to come, but it started. So we're excited and we're going to learn.
No, that's good. And, farming takes forever. And you just said it. It's really hard because you never know. You depend on the weather, right? The land gives you almost everything, but you need to keep on cultivating. So every day you have to wake up. If you have a cow, you have to milk it. If you have a goat, you might need to milk it. If it's a female goat and you want to keep the milk, but you have to check your hen's eggs every day.
It's funny because we try to have a nice new flock of hens and we got some silkies, but we had about, 30? We got 30, right? But in 2 nights, we lost 8 little chickies. And the reason why was we couldn't figure it out. But there was an animal that would just get in at night. If the light wasn't on, even if it was an hour during, once the sun went down, boom. We lost some chickies there, and then sometimes we have really severe weather here, like it's too cold, we'll have something will freeze or hot. So it's kind of a beautiful thing because we're not altering anything, we're just going with nature. And sometimes we might have, a handful of tomatoes or we might have an abundance. And that's kind of the charm of it. So we're not really stressed out about it, but definitely exciting.
It is exciting. And you see, and about the sowing, and I used to be in Queens and then we moved to Long Island. And I've been playing with the soil here, meaning every year I try to plant different things. And I came to learn what technically grows well and technically doesn't, right? So I think also it's something that you guys are learning on how you keep all of your chicks and or in how you like you will sow a few different types of pomegranate, whatever it is, and only a few things come up to life. I have to say we are lucky with the cucumbers, for example, and especially when it rains. When it rains, they just grow 2-3 inches, and I have cucumbers like the size of my forearm, and it's incredible. And they're full of water, and it's really good. But some days, and sometimes it depends on the weather. Like I had a huge zucchini, but that was the only thing. And I think also one thing it's important to say, it's important for the people who are listening to, is if you start your own garden, you know this better than me. Try a variety because it changes every year. I mean, every time that you try. Now, the only beautiful thing is you guys in California, the weather permits longer and more, I think, variety of planting. And it's not like in New York that you only have from, if you seed in March, you will pick up your fruits and vegetables until the end of the summer, and then that's it, unless you have a greenhouse. But tell us, in California, the weather will cooperate longer, right?
It definitely does. It's just in the heart of summer or winter where, we might lose some stuff. Like last winter we actually got snow, about an inch or two. So it was very strange. But generally speaking, yes, definitely fortunate enough to, see a little bit more or at least longer.
You said that during quarantine, of course, you thought about thinking of sustaining yourselves and your family. And then you said that you started posting, on social media. Have the people been more receptive to small businesses, you think?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And it's funny because part of their support includes either a gift that says, support local business or small business, or, they're just sharing that message along with that. Even if they repost, they always include that messaging. And I think it's because of what we've seen, like a lot of people suffering during this time.
So I usually buy my meats from a farm in North Carolina. It's called Baldwin Farms. Shout out to those guys. They are really nice. It's everything grass-fed, and it's a family business like your business, right? So they will package everything in a vacuum, airtight, with a seal, everything that needs to be done. So I'm a gaucha, right? I will eat meat every day of my life. And when they send the package, for some reason, and then the lady was super nice. She called to explain, and she said, sorry, it wasn't me doing packages. We had a ton of new orders. So we started hiring new people, and the people weren't trained enough. So they sent out the packages, and some of them weren't completely vacuum sealed, right? So when I got the meats 2 days later, there was air inside. And you know what happens? The meat gets frost. It will get frozen in the freezer, and then it harms it, and you cannot use it anymore. But she was so nice, because when I called to say, I'm sorry, I've been buying from you for at least 5 years, and I just want to keep you aware of what happened. And she said, thank you for letting us know. And that's what I think the beauty of a small business like you guys is. You talk to somebody on the phone, and the lady will tell you, thanks for reaching out. I will try to fix the situation, right? And then she says, I know your order. You've been ordering forever. I will just send you the same thing. And she sent me a whole same order that I just purchased, because in her point of view is, I don't want to make my customers sad, right? A few things are really out of your control. It's beyond you. You know this. If somebody orders eggs and, one of them is not good, what are you going to do? You can't tell her that you're going to inspect the chicken every time the chicken lays. Do you have any people like me that will call and say, hey, something happened?
I think right now it's too soon and we haven't experienced any of that yet. But I mean, we can only anticipate it to come, right? It's natural. And I mean, sometimes we'll break an egg and, just being aware and expecting it and just having a game plan, which we already know it's going to be no issue, like replacing it or even going above and beyond and sending something that she wants to do is she loves to bake and she makes bread, fresh bread. So, like that's even something there, like little goodies, things like that, that if it was us, right, like we would love to receive that. But definitely I'll come back to you on that one. I'm sure we'll get some.
Yes. And I'm not going to ask any eggs be shipped to New York because there doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
I understand. Fine. But I just want for everyone who are listening to us to understand that you guys are based in California. And if they are in the nearby vicinity, they can always come to your website and talk to you. Okay, I have a question. Your parents, are they first generation in the U.S.?
My dad he was born in El Salvador, but our mom was born here in San Diego.
Okay, and the question is, how do you feel? I don't know about your dad, but myself, growing up in Brazil, forget my dad has a farm, a big farm. So I was a teenager when he acquired a farm, but he grew up in the countryside and he grew up in a farm. But my grandparents and everyone else I know at some point in their life had in the back of their house, in the back of the property, had a chicken coop, and we would get the eggs and we would get everything. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think for your dad was too difficult to get back into the farming business. In a sense, it's not a huge Monsanto grain, soy field. It's more of what you had at home. How does he feel? How does he translate that to you? How does he make you guys feel?
I mean, definitely doesn't shy away from reminding us of, his humble beginnings and, where he was from, Cara Sucia, really small pueblito, and you had to walk miles to get to the store. So yes, it was part of survival to have everything at home. So being over here, when we lived in the valley for many years, and then once we moved over here, he was like, that's it. We're getting everything that, he had as a child growing up. But it's funny because even when we think back when he used to live in Silmar, which is also another, growing up, he lived in Silmar. It's also the valley. And
he had a lot of trees.
So even in the city, they had it. So it's not, and seeing it here and being the fact that it's here, it's not a surprise. If they made it happen in Silmar, it definitely was going to happen here. So at first we were just we didn't grow up like that. So when we first had the chickens, we're oh my God, we have to clean the poop. And we have smells in there. And then when you walk in, because we have one area that's, we'll show you pictures, but one side of it is covered, right? So, and then the other side is it's open. So there's fencing, fresh air coming in, and they'll tend to sleep in the covered set. But in that, when you walk in, naturally there's a lot of the dust and, the feathers. So even now we're all these little things. But over time you learn and you're oh, and it's part, you just, how do you say,
it grows in you.
Yeah, it grows on you.
I think it grows in you. Yes. We have close friends, Joseph and Susan. Shout out to them. It's really funny. Susan's first generation in the U.S. Her parents are Chinese. Joseph was born in Italy, but he grew up in here. So this year they bought quail.
Oh.
And yeah, I know it's cute and all, but it's because Susan really wanted her eggs in the morning. And this was so funny because the same reaction that you guys are having, that's the reactions that the kids have. So Alyssa and Ryan, when the little quails are young, they're so cute. The second, they're the smell. And of course, when you start getting eggs and you start learning how to take care of the chicks and the light and everything else that needs to be part of it. But the moment you start getting your eggs in the morning, I think everything's worth it, right? So at the end of the day, we have my dad's veterinary for the farm. He said, okay, what I'm going to explain, it only makes sense in Portuguese, but you'll understand because it's very similar to Spanish. So he says, hacienda, right? Or in our case, fazenda. It shouldn't be the name of the place. It should be a verb because you're constantly doing things. So in Portuguese, it's fazendo, right? So because you are doing things at all the time, you don't stop. You wake up and then and then the eggs and then this and then that. But at the end of the day, think about it. You're so much healthier because you don't stop. You eat what's not processed. And of course, every so often you will go out and you buy whatever you need. So you will learn how to make things like baking and everything else, and if you have the chickens and they grow, you'll see it will take longer than 90 days, but you'll be able to kill a chicken and have lunch.
Oh yeah, and we're excited. We got ducks for the first time. Four ducks. So they grew 5 times their size in 3 weeks. They're giant. They're humongous. And I mean, we've never had them. So we had so many requests, are you selling ducks? I want a duck for a pet. And we're like, what? Yeah. But I never thought about having a duck for a pet. But then we're like, no, we're, not this time. So that in itself is going to be interesting. And soon we'll put them in a pool so they can start swimming. So it's fun.
Yesterday we went to pick up the eggs and they were tripping over themselves.
Oh yeah, they're just the cutest things ever.
It is nice. It's nice. Ladies, I'm so happy to hear all of this. I'm happy that we could share the world with your voices, and it makes me feel happy. I see you, worried about what's going to happen to the world. I see you worried about where you get your foods from, instead of just thinking that everything magically appears at a supermarket. And you're not, I'm sorry, but you're not eating hot dogs or chicken nuggets. A nugget is not part of a chicken. You will have duck breast, duck à l'orange. You can make whatever you want with the duck and the chicken, but no. And then, and if you think, if you have potatoes, you can we know frying is not the best thing, but you can still fry it and it's not going to be the end of the world. So before we go, I just want to thank you for your time. And please share your Instagram handle, Sibrian Farms.
Yep, at Sibrian Farms. No underscores, one word. Yep.
Okay. And if anyone's around Agua Dulce, they can get in touch with you through that button.
Yes, please follow for updates. We're going to be coming up with some really exciting products. And so hopefully the world can start enjoying our love.
Yes, and share recipes too if you have, because trust me, I'm always finding something new. But if I say, and I see beautiful fruits and vegetables from you and from the farm, and please say hi to mom and dad. I know this is a podcast, but it's very informal. And I think it's important to show the world that you can start small and you can have a business, you can survive, and especially now in the world of pandemic where we're trying more than ever to survive.
Exactly.
But before we go, you have to tell us your menu for the week, if you remember.
Well, on Sunday, we had a barbecue with just us four, and we had a lot of ribs. We had we had a lot of ribs.
We like to grill a lot. So a lot of the veggies and, whether it's corn, anything, potatoes, we grill. It's pretty, we enjoy eating al fresco. We have a beautiful, obviously, like our yard. So we do that. And we use a Dutch oven often. So whether it's homemade chicken soup, pork, we'll throw in the carrots from the backyard and, bell peppers, things like that. And then tons of fish as well. Grilled shrimp. We'll put, the garlic, tons of garlic, anything and everything. And then salads, homemade salads. We use right now we have an abundance of tomatoes. So Caprese salad, or just, we have the butter lettuce, avocado, and then we'll just shred the chicken on there. So really simple eating, right? Like a lot of grilling and pretty, but it's pretty whole. And then tons of fruit. Right now we have pears in season. So our pears, Asian pears, those are really beautiful.
We love them.
Yes. And then our citrus is coming. So that is going to be really awesome. Lots of Meyer lemons, and in our cuisine we use
lots of citrus.
Yes.
Whether it's alcoholic drinks, palomas, margaritas, or obviously our food. So
that's good. So I'm very happy to hear. We'd also had a barbecue over because it's summer, and I'm going to barbecue to my very last minute if I can. We were lucky this year that we could start in April, and I think the fact by being home, it also helps me because at 5 o'clock I can just turn off the computer, go downstairs, make whatever I need to make, or if it's lunch. And our colleagues have been really funny about they are really making fun of me because they will hear the stove and the oven going off, and they say, Nadia, or I mute myself and I start giving Stella cooking instructions. It's really funny when I cannot stop. But at the end of the day, you can grill. And grilling, it's so simple. It's so much, if you think about it, so clean. You get your vegetables straight and salt, oil, pepper. That's it. And sometimes in your tomatoes, look, I bet you eat tomatoes just like my daughter Stella eats the tomatoes like fruit. It's amazing. So ladies, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure for you being on Nadia Cooks, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and we'll come back and then you let us know how everything is going, okay?
Yes, I would definitely would love that.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for our listeners to staying with us. We'll see you next time.